Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Let us make sure that yes, we do. We have sound. I love it. Live from Denver. It is Friday night. Welcome to another episode of Critical Conversations. As always, I am joined by my beautiful wife, Melissa.
Hello.
My favorite co-host ever. Best wife ever, by the way.
Better be.
Yeah, definitely. And all I want for Christmas. Well, actually, hang on.
Huh.
Yeah, I know, right? Wait a second. I did want something else for Christmas. But pretty much all I want for Christmas. If we're being honest. Hey, everybody. Welcome, critics, to another episode of our weekly live broadcast where you get to call in and talk to us. And the call-in line this week is 984-214-4154, as always. And, of course, this week, as you can see up in the little corner up there, we are doing open mic. And, by the way, let me click on weather-appropriate imagery right now, because today we had the first snow of the season in Denver, which is
snow.
It's a little nuts that today was the first day that we had some snowfall there.
Yeah.
But you can see that reflected. Hey, Jerry, thank you very much for that super chat. Very much appreciate that. Yes, so here we are. What is it? Friday the 10th. Let's see. In terms of, I've come with some bullet points to discuss tonight, but I am really looking forward to your calls as well, because this is we're going to be doing open mic night on a routine once a month kind of thing. So like every 4 shows will be like an open mic show. I think I said that last month, and I'm going to reiterate that, because this is where we thank you very much about my t-shirt, because this is where we really just kind of let you guys run the show. If you'd like, if you want to call in and talk to us about literally anything, we are foolish enough to probably talk about it. So so we will do that. And yes, climate crisis, snow falling, weather occurring. Weather occurred everywhere today in the news. That's
everywhere.
Yes,
Can
everywhere.
You believe it?
No, nowhere was there a lack of weather today. That's something we can say with some degree of certainty. Yes.
Yes, there's always weather.
Yes, weather occurred today. Okay. Wow. Big Blue's going to get 2 to 3 inches of rain this Thursday. Wow.
Oh.
Wow. Yeah, we're really hoping we get some more snow. I personally would like to have
we're really in a drought.
Yeah, we really are. Actually, apparently, Colorado is in an extreme drought right now. And so it is hope that this is the first of many snowfalls and rainfalls or whatever, and that we get some moisture going on around here. Okay. I am seeing your question, Jay, and we are going to get to that possibly, but we have 2 calls in the
already,
queue that are queuing right now. And great. Okay, great. Yes, we will pick those up. But there is something I needed to let everybody know before we get into the calls, and that is just out of pure ego and vanity, I'm going to announce that tomorrow is my birthday. And it's not the biggest day of the year for me, actually, but anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am turning the 52, the incredibly young, just a little baby. Oh my God, he's right out of the crib. 52. That's tomorrow. So there you go.
If you're the child from The Mandalorian.
Well, that's true. That's true. I suppose age is relative to species that way. Yeah. So, so there you go with that. So, all right. Let us pick up. I'm going to drop that because it didn't. Somehow the auto screen. Oh, did that?
No, it just didn't get their name.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and pick this one up then. First call on the line for this week. Hello, you are on the air.
Yes.
Hey, Mark.
Yes. Yeah. What's that? See, over the last few days, there's been a search for a little girl in Grace Harbor gone missing, and her drug addict parents aren't cooperating, and her foster family took and they pleaded with CPS not to put her back with the drug addict parents, but they did anyhow. And this is the common problem, and these bleeding heart judges do the same thing, and these kids they go from being a perfectly normal home to total chaos, and more time than not, these kids end up dead, and these bleeding heart judges and these incompetent CPS workers are not being held accountable. It's like they're untouchable.
I hear you.
It keeps happening.
Yeah.
And it happens over and over again.
Yeah, it does. We have some real systemic problems there. And I think you mentioned something there, or sort of mentioned something about the incompetent judge or something like that. We almost did a show this week about what kind of requirements we should hold politicians and judges to. So it's funny you call in with this, because I'm thinking right away, I think you're right. I think we have some problems there.
The thing is, we got these bleeding heart woman judges in family court who are just absolutely hell-bent, who have this mindset that only a mother can raise it. They're hell-bent on keeping the child with the birth mother, no matter how competent the birth mother is. They're absolutely hell-bent, and they really don't seem to care about the consequences. They just have this perverted agenda, and these kids are paying the price for it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that. I know, though, I am gonna push back a little bit on what you just said, because it is the purpose and priority of family courts to try as much as they possibly can to keep biological families together, to keep kids with their natural parents as much as they can. Obviously, if it's not abusive, or it's not an abusive situation, is what you want to avoid. And unfortunately, as you're pointing out here, they make mistakes and err on the side of that. Maybe too often. It's not something I know enough about to talk about too deeply, but I do know that there are problems and issues with that, and it really sucks when that happens, because the kids end up paying the price for that, and that's never fun. Never.
Yeah, and that right now, people in Grace Harbor in Washington State, they're hoping, they're hoping for the best. They're hoping that the girl's alive, but she hasn't been seen over 6 months, and people are fearing that she could be dead. Yeah,
that's a legit fear as well, with unfortunately, with people who have, uncontrollable drug problems. So, man, that sucks, man. Well, I mean, that's all I can really say about it. It's not even my area of expertise, but yeah, it sucks, man.
Yeah, and another quick note, I was here in Colorado. There's this guy named Steve McCall, and he lives in Colorado, and he's wrote all these songs about the state. And one of my favorite songs is called Riverside Slide. It's about Highway 550 and how bad it is during the winter. And the song he does is about a plow driver that goes up in a mountain, and he gets shoved up a mountain. They don't find his body till spring.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll have to look that one up.
Yeah.
I know there's some European band right now that has a hit called Colorado as well, that is actually playing on the radio constantly here. Yeah.
They got the song's called Riverside Slide by C.W. McCall.
Excellent. Well, I'll look that one up.
Yeah, he has a bunch of songs about Colorado.
All right, Mark. Well, we got some other calls in the queue, so I'm going to move on, but thank you for calling in.
Okay.
All right, man. Bye-bye. All right. Let us just check in quickly, make sure we don't have any crazy comments going on. Yeah. Otherwise, I should say, let's make sure we have enough crazy comments going on, actually. But Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Well, thank you all, you guys, commenting about my birthday. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Yes, I used to. The only thing I can comment on, and it's nothing original about this, is that when I was much younger, it never, ever. I never really thought I was going to get this old, and if I did think about somebody who was this old, I just thought of them as incredibly old and kind of boring and useless and not really a part of my life in any way, in any significant way, unless they were a relative who was going to. I mean, I hate to say it, but I was just so. I guess I was really wrapped up with myself and when I was a kid. So it was kind of like, well, if you're not going to give me something,
right?
I mean, if I'm being honest, right?
We're so selfish when
we really are. Yeah, we really are. And so I think I was kind of like, yeah, it's so far away, it's just unimaginable. And then you get here. And you're like, I kind of remember being 10 like yesterday. What the fuck happened, right? Pardon my French, right?
So where did the last however many years go?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a little funny that way. Age it does creep up on you. It is weird. It's very, very weird. But also at the end of the day, I mean, it completely arbitrary. I mean, we really just almost took a dart to a board to decide, okay, every time around the sun, that's how we're gonna judge this. That's how we're gonna number this, right? And it's number of cycles around the sun. That's what you get for your age. I mean, there's lots of other ways we could have done this, I suppose. Interesting, huh?
Yeah,
Thinking about that stuff.
Else.
Well, I could buy life events, maybe.
Yeah, you could do that.
You could do it that way. You could do knowledge. You could do things you have to learn or know.
Yeah.
There's lots of things, ways you could kind of gauge progress or forward motion. All right. Well, we have another call here. It looks like this is Molly. Hello. You are on.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I called a few weeks ago about Portland. I don't know if you remember. I guess it was last month, whatever.
Yeah. No worries.
I had something else to talk about, but gosh, I'd kind of like to talk about what the last caller was talking about.
It's open mic. Whatever you want.
I know. I don't know why you're doing that. It's kind of dangerous. But I don't know. Just listening to it.
Well, I do have a mute button, so.
Okay. Well, hopefully I don't say anything you feel like saying.
Right.
But I mean, I'll be good. I promise.
Okay, great.
But yeah, I was going to talk about Portland and that, but I'll talk about this. I recently just had a bad relationship happen a few months ago, and I just had a hearing a few days ago for somebody who was abusive towards me, like physically badly for like a long time.
Oh, it sucks. I'm sorry.
I mean, it is what it is, but like going through that process, like the family law system, it's not broken. It's a very false narrative to say there's some sort of like epidemic of women, abusing the fact that judges are more lenient towards them to, get their way.
Right.
So that they can, drink and drug and use and abuse children and falsely accuse men of these kind of things.
Right.
I mean, statistically, and there's nothing against men. I love them, obviously, but like the system is the way it is for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And these family judges, they see this all day long,
I do.
But for the most part, they can smell bullshit a mile away,
Right.
And
exactly.
When mistakes are made, it's unfortunate. It's awful. But the answer is not to clear out all the quote unquote bleeding hearts. Like we need those.
Yes, I would tend to agree with you. That was sort of what I was trying to push back on a little bit there.
Yeah. What we need is more money. We need more money for everything. The government needs more money. It's a simple argument that we could probably all go on for a long time about. But yeah, and actually I called to talk about I was talking to you guys before about the Portland homeless problem, and that's what I was going to talk about. So it kind of comes all around to the same point.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was just trying to adjust the volume a little bit. If you could get your mouth a little closer to the speaker for me, that would be awesome.
Oh, okay. Here. Wait, actually, you know what it is? It's probably because I have you on speaker.
Oh.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Let's try that. I've got everything turned up as much as I can on my end, guys. Okay, just so everybody knows. I'm getting a few comments about the volume. That's why
I've definitely been told I have problems projecting. So
there we go. Well, you sound much clearer now. So let's try this. Did you have some other points to make about that or about Portland in general?
I mean, how do you? Oh, important. Just I had my car stolen for the second time in 1 year the other day.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah, and I started considering moving, and I did for a good solid 3 or 4 days, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna stick it out, and I was gonna kind of bring it around, I think, to a point of just saying, like, we just need more money. I'm not a socialist. I'm not a communist. but our government needs more money. Let's be honest.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll push back a little bit on that because I'm going to counter suggest to you that I think that the government could also use, or maybe more use, some inspired and a hell of a lot better organization and leadership, right, at local and.
Yeah, we've got to know where the money we're already putting it is going.
Exactly. That's kind of my point, because we are putting a tremendous amount of money into lots of systems, but I wonder about. When you break it all down and you start looking at government and NGO programs and organizations and how the money gets distributed, how the pipelines work, how long it takes, who gets what percentages of it, it becomes this spider's web of crazy so quickly. And I think...
Can I give you my...
Yeah, I was just going to say, I wish there was some way we could simplify that, And
I think that's the ultimate goal. Like, my opinion on that is absolutely, I 100% agree. Yeah. But the problem is, where do we start? And I think we need to start by pumping more money in immediately. But in doing that, we need to pump the money that we put in right now into programs that we develop and control right now. So none of the new money coming in should really go to the old system. We need to systematically restructure everything and weed out all the old stuff. I don't think we can do both at once.
Interesting.
We can't inject and restructure everything all at once. So all new money goes towards, things that are newly structured, and old things are slowly phased out and worked back in. Does that make sense?
It does, except old things are going to require continuing flows of money to them in order to even phase them out. And where this is being done incorrectly, I might suggest, is, at least from conversations and some of the stuff I've been seeing lately, Minnesota, and it was either Portland or Seattle, who... I think it was Seattle, I think it was Washington, greatly reduced and cut off funding to their police forces. And
those also, they're saying that did happen in Portland, but a lot of that was just a vote. Like, they've been underfunded for years already.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true.
The actual funds were not taken away. A lot of they were already suffering. A lot of the consequences from that have come from the actions within because of, being displeased with those kinds of votes. But I agree with you. You can't just cut it off. And I mean, the intention of defund the police is not to just take away the money. It's to put that money into places where the job would be done better, but the job still needs to be done.
Exactly. And we can't pretend that when you go out on a call where there's a naked guy in the street with a gun, that a social worker is going to be able to deal with that. You have to,
do you live here?
Operate in
Because
tandem.
that just happened.
Yeah, I mean, you have to operate in tandem with it, otherwise it's not going to really work so good. But that's I know in Minnesota, and I know, so I guess it was Washington then, where they are actually losing cops. They're just resigning, quitting, taking off because it has become kind of, not so fun to be a cop these days, and that in those areas at least. And that has been, now we've seen, as I said we would see last summer, now we're going to see rising crime rates and stuff like that as a result of that. So it's a difficult problem, isn't it?
It is. It is.
It's a little
Sorry,
complicated.
my kitty decided right now is a good time to try and nudge my face.
Aw.
Not a problem. Not a problem at all.
It is, but I come across as the we need to put more in
Yes.
to begin with before we try and be conservative with things, or else look at the New Deal. Obviously, statistically, the differences in the numbers are different, but
Right.
a big injection. I mean, some people might whine, but there are people that can afford it.
Well, there are people who can afford it, and or at least to pay a little bit more. But that's an interesting thing. Did you know, by the way, when we talk about things like that, and you might check this out for Oregon. I don't know about Oregon, but I do know for a fact in Washington State, the progressive tax system is in reverse. The poor actually pay higher rates than the rich.
Yeah.
I mean, to the level of like 26% to 2%. I mean, it goes crazy weird.
No, and it's actually it's interesting because I live on the border of the two, and so it's interesting. People will live in one state and work in another to try and balance out.
Yeah, it's a very
big
strange thing.
Yeah.
It's and what's weird about it is these are states who have democratically controlled governments.
Yeah.
So it's
true, we do, but Oregon is funny also because the Willamette Valley and the metropolitan areas, which is smaller land-wise, we're more liberal, but the bigger landmass and less people of the state are very red, and they want to leave us. Obviously, they want to become part of Greater Idaho.
Right. Yeah, I know. Kind of wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Good luck, guys.
Molly, I'm going to let you go because we got some other calls in the queue.
Yeah,
but thank you for your input
so much of
today.
your time.
Yeah, thank you very
Yeah,
much.
it's always nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Bye-bye. All right, good deal. Yeah, it's a difficult thing for sure because it's kind of like, here's how I see it, guys, and I want to throw this out at you as just a kind of maybe alternative way of examining complicated issues like this. Is we tend to reduce these things down to left versus right, black versus white paradigms of these sort of adversarial, well, it's this way or it's this way.
Right.
And the fact of the matter is, if we're really being honest, it's kind of both sides are actually right at the same time. There's some of this, and depending on where you're looking and when is when you find the disparities of which one is winning over the other one. And it could be, here it could be more blue, here it can be more red. Both are true at the same time. Really hard to talk about things in simple terms when you look at it that way, though. So it tends to be difficult to have those conversations when you're looking at the fact that both right and wrong things are happening at exactly the same time in exactly the same space. And then you're like, oh my God, now what do we do? So just another way of examining some of that. But let's pick up this other call. I don't want to leave people in the queue for this long. This is Emmy, I believe. Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Hi, Melissa.
Hello.
Hi. Happy early birthday.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome to the show.
We even spoken on the phone before, but last year for my birthday, my boyfriend emailed you and you sent me a very, very sweet message.
Oh, yes.
It made my entire day.
Yes, I remember now. Yes.
Yes. I mean, when we first started dating, I remember telling myself the biggest concern that I had was how I was going to tell him that I'm really obsessed with this guy on YouTube who just talks about Scientology, and I will listen to him for hours on end. I made the mistake a lot of just telling people I'm super into Scientology, and then not saying I'm not super into Scientology, but so it became a very interesting conversation.
That's funny. That's funny.
So I have a question for you, and I think that maybe Chris will have more experience with this, but I always appreciate Melissa's input and her view on things.
Yeah.
I also appreciate, Melissa, that you've been speaking up more. I really, really enjoy hearing your perspective on things, and I think that the way you come across is super intelligent.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I have a question.
Yeah, what you got?
You picked well, Chris.
Thank you.
I, at night when I am bored, will sometimes go on deep social media explorations.
Mm-hmm.
So something about Scientology that I've always been super interested in is the Delphine School in Oregon.
Yes.
And this, I guess what interests me about that school is that it's not marketed as a Scientology school, even though it very much is. And, Leah Remini and Mike Rinder just had an episode about this pretty recently.
Yep.
And so I even have like gone on their website and like looked for the Scientology, and they say that they base their coursework off of L. Ron Hubbard, and I think that it's the same. Like they base the studying and the way that words are learned and all of that stuff.
Yep.
And it is a Scientology school. Like that is what it is.
Absolutely, through and
They don't
through.
market it like, yeah, they don't market it like that. And then when I find people on like that comment on their stuff or whatever, even on Scientology pages, it's very interesting because these people, Scientology is their religion, but it seems like most of the time, if they're just a normal person within Scientology, they're like trying to hide the fact that they're in Scientology.
Yeah, that's right. It's becoming a secret society in certain ways.
Right. And it's kind of hypocritical because like if you believe something so strongly, like how someone in the Sea Org's whole entire life is to make sure that they like are spreading the word and that this is so important. So when you think about the dichotomy between the two people who are supposed to be doing recruitment and the people who are in and hide it, it's just very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. You're bringing up a very good point. Is that what you wanted to, that particular contradiction or seeming?
Yeah, I guess I wanted to get your opinion on maybe why people try to hide it, if that's something that's like, even someone that I found who's a Scientologist, they don't like their kids go to the Delphine School, they don't market it on their social media, but then like they'll do readings of the Way to Happiness, and he explicitly says at the beginning of the video, this isn't a religious text, it's a psychological.
So it's a secular moral code.
Oh, is that
right?
Is how they market
right.
it. Yeah, non-religious moral code.
I just kind of wanted your opinion if you felt like you have ever wanted to like hide that fact from someone, or I don't know. It's just an interesting hypocrisy, I guess.
Well, it's interesting. It's a oh, by the way, thank you for that super chat, Derek. Just noticing that, so we're going to throw that in there. And earlier as well, I have an unacknowledged one from Cute Steffi. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. Just wanted to acknowledge those real fast before I forget. I think of it more as embarrassment and an avoidance of difficult questions and situations. Mm-hmm. People are confronted on their views about things, some from time to time. Most of the time, people just leave each other alone when they're in the real world. But sometimes not, right? I mean, I confronted a woman about her lack of a mask the other day in a store. I don't generally do that, but she just wouldn't shut up about, how right she was. And I was like, I can't stand this. So I said something about it. But generally speaking, it's hard to speak up, to stand up for yourself in a social situation where you're surrounded by people you don't know. Potentially, right? Out in a public venue, let's say.
Right.
And people will tend to pull their flippers way in those situations. And the only reason I'm highlighting this or talking about it first is because I wanted to kind of, remember that that's a big thing with people is they are timid. They tend to, even when they have very strong beliefs, sometimes because of their social timidity or their social concerns, status really is what we're talking about here, right? In a social hierarchy, you don't say anything. You're a coward. You pull back.
Well, and I think people these days know how much there is out there about how bad Scientology is and everything, so they don't want to admit to that.
That's the next place I was going to go, is exactly that. Because let me say that when I was a Scientologist and a Sea Org member even, where I was the most committed, the most hardcore. I mean, sometimes I was embarrassed to walk around in my uniform out on the street because I knew people didn't understand it. They were going to potentially ask me questions. I'm not in the military, but are you pretending to be in the military? What the hell are you doing? You know, you're kind of afraid of being confronted, you know, hostilely that way. And so it was a constant thing that we were pushing Scientologists to be loud and proud and talk openly about it, but most Scientologists don't want to. They don't want to make waves.
Right. I guess the dichotomy between their beliefs of like how strongly people are so indoctrinated into the belief and the fact that they don't want that to be a part of their identity is just such an interesting,
isn't it?
Interesting thing to me.
Isn't it? It is. I'm not pushing back at all on that. It is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because in an echo chamber situation, those same people will rile other people up. They'll be the most, the most excited, the most into it. But then they go into a situation that they're not necessarily in control of or don't feel in control of it. And, in come the flippers.
Right. I mean, it's also interesting how the church does it. Like, for example, the Scientology in London, they're showing that they're passing out the Way to Happiness books, but it's not marketed as a Scientology thing.
Yep.
So it's like, it's obvious that they're trying to get people to read this, and then at the end you might see something that's small. It says Church of Scientology or whatever. So
that's right. Let me also please point out on that particular thing that there is actually strategic thinking there. Because with the Way to Happiness, and also with all of L. Ron Hubbard's fiction works, they're just trying to get acceptance of L. Ron Hubbard's name. And that's it, right? Then they'll bring Scientology in. But they're just trying to get Hubbard as an accepted thought leader in society. You and I both know that's an incredibly bizarre and completely unrealistic idea. But to Scientologists who surround themselves with L. Ron Hubbard all day, they think they're almost there.
Yeah.
It's
and I can't even think of, like, I don't feel like the Jehovah's Witness or the Mormons do this stuff. So it's just a very interesting Scientology perk, and it's something that I've just been thinking about. But
absolutely.
It's very telling to me. It's very interesting.
Isn't it? Yeah.
So thank you guys. I really appreciate everything that you guys do, and I know that sometimes it's not the easiest to fit everything in your day, but I appreciate it so much. And Melissa, I appreciate you supporting Chris when he's probably at the busiest year ever from the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's been quite pretty crazy. Thank you very much, Emmy.
She doesn't get enough recognition. We need a 5-minute Melissa just round of applause.
Yeah, right? I agree. I agree completely.
Okay, thank you guys. Have a great birthday, Chris.
Thank you very much, and happy holidays to you, Emmy. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
All right, good deal. Okay, good. And I see you guys in the queue here. We will be getting to you in just a moment. Just going to check back in. Did I miss anything that you saw super...
Did you ever get accused of stolen valor?
Oh, yeah, good question. And no, I did not. Thankfully, I never ever tried to get a military discount or military anything when I was in uniform. I was actually asked and offered a couple times at restaurants, and I was like, no, I'm actually not active duty military, thanks. I kept that in. But I do know other Sea Org members who did take advantage of that sort of thing. I wasn't familiar with the concept even, much less the term stolen valor when I was in the Sea Org. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal or something. I'm just telling you, this is what I did. I didn't want that. It didn't seem like the right thing for me to do. But other people I know did do that. So cool.
And someone asked if I had a quote. I do.
Oh, yes. Yes, let's get to Melissa's quote now.
Yeah.
We're reworking our format a little bit because we don't have 7cam now. So I have to come up with a new little thing for us. But
yeah.
Please, sweetie.
So here's the quote, and it's about depression. Give yourself another day, another chance. You will find your courage eventually. Don't give up on yourself just yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I
for anyone that's feeling sad right now.
I don't do this every week, but I did this week. I opened up my quotable atheist just for fun.
Oh yeah.
And Umberto Eco, the guy who wrote The Name of the Rose, great book. One should not have the arrogance to declare that God does not exist, he says. But also, fear prophets and those prepared to die for the truth. For as a rule, they make many others die with them, often before them, at times instead of them. So, cautionary tale from our friend Umberto. All right. I like Melissa's quote better, actually. All right, let's pick this up from, I believe this is Karen. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And hello, Melissa.
Hello.
That quote, Melissa, that you just gave was perfect timing for me. I appreciate it so much. And first of all, Chris, happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
My birthday is tomorrow also.
Oh,
Wow. Well, happy
birthday.
birthday right back at you.
So don't feel bad because I'm going to be 69.
Okay.
And I never thought I'd live this old. So,
Yep.
don't
I
think
hear you.
52 is old. But yeah, I totally get what you said earlier about when you're young
Yep.
and you look at older people or whatever and you think, oh, I'll never be, or I can't be that old ever or
Yeah,
whatever.
I won't be like that when I'm
And-
that old.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a really weird perspective. And then when you get here, you're like, oh, well, okay, I'm still alive and still breathing. So I guess that's good.
That's right. That's right. Every day
yeah.
is a gift.
Yeah. And I also wanted to give you my condolences on your loss of Seven.
Thank you.
Just a week ago, I had to put my own kitty to sleep.
So sorry.
And yeah, she was 15, almost 16.
Wow. So many
And,
parallels.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And she developed, she's been healthy all along. It's amazing. But she developed kidney failure.
Mm.
And, of course, she had arthritis. And between the two, yeah. So I'm really having a tough time with it. I'm just really not doing well. I'm sure you guys can completely understand.
Oh,
Yes.
definitely.
And, yeah, when I heard about it, I was like, oh, no, not Seven. But, I just don't understand why animals can't live as long as people,
I know.
Yes.
because they're our companions.
Yeah.
And, they just don't. And I think that's a terrible thing. But anyway,
agree.
I do too.
I'm sure, yeah. I'm sure you miss your Seven, and I miss my Mercedes
Every day.
desperately. It's only been a week, so I'm
Yeah.
like really not even. What's the word?
Processing?
Maybe. Well, maybe, yeah.
Progressing?
Processing, yeah. 'Cause,
Yeah.
every time I do something, I expect her to be right there.
Yep. Totally know what you mean.
Expect like a certain behavior, or she used to follow me around like a puppy, but I look around the corner and she's not there, and it's really weird.
Exactly. Something's missing. And we were just talking about this morning. I still, every single day since he's left, I have felt his loss in some way. I have expected him to be coming around the corner. I have not, I've thought about him because I can't leave this food out. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, God. And then, oh no, he's not
Yes.
here anymore, and having to almost remind
Yes.
myself.
Yeah, I had
Yes.
to pick up his ashes
Yes.
today, and that was not
Oh.
easy.
Yeah, today was that day.
Yeah, we opted not to do that, but I just feel very badly for you, and now I know exactly how it feels, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But I will leave it at that. And
I hear you.
Again, wish
Our
you a
heart is
happy
with you.
birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Thank
feel it.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I watch everything that you have on YouTube.
Awesome.
I watch all your shows and everything. I love it.
Well, thank you.
So thank you for that. And Melissa, thank you for that quote today. It was perfect.
Oh, I'm glad.
Perfect timing. So happy holidays. And
Thank you.
yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she is, isn't she?
All right.
She is. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All
Bye.
right. Good deal. Cool. Let me just check on something. Kevin, I see you in the queue. I know you've been there for a little bit. Please give me one moment, and I am going to pick you up. I just also saw in the comments here, somebody was asking about my response to kids requiring vaccinations, I think. Yeah, I want your opinion on making 5 to 11-year-olds get a shot to watch a movie or eat at a restaurant. Well, I'm going to say, and I know that this is going to be controversial. I know that people are going to be upset with me, but I had to get vaccinated to go to school when I was a kid.
Yep.
I think almost all of us did. And nobody's standing around bitching and moaning about that. So I see it as equivalent. And in the middle of a global pandemic, I think that's appropriate.
I'd be fine with making everybody have to be vaccinated to go out in public.
I think I would go in that direction. However, I do recognize and understand the authoritarian overtones there. I get it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really do. I've made my argument already. I can make it again about rights and responsibilities in our society and the social contract and the fact that we owe something to society as well as society owing us. And I think that there is a need to recognize that our rights are limited or prescribed by those concerns, that's a natural good thing in order for us to have a society. And I think when it comes to public safety and health, these kind of things are important when we're dealing with a pandemic level situation. If it weren't these things under these conditions, then the context would be very different and I might have different things to say. But under these conditions, with people getting sick and dying in large numbers around the world, I think that these kind of activities are a little appropriate and not unprecedented, which is why I brought up the thing about schooling and being vaccinated, because this was up until COVID, this was a very uncontroversial thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, there was the anti-vaxxers that, thought they caused other things, but that wasn't it wasn't as big of a group as it is now,
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Short response, I know, but because I'm going to pick up Kevin's call here, but I wanted to at least throw that much out there for you, One Track Mind. And I know it's not going to be satisfactory as an answer, I'm pretty sure, but that's where I'm coming at it from. I'm certainly acknowledging the fact that our rights are being limited and prescribed in certain directions there. I agree. They are. I'm kind of okay with that because of the nature of the problem, not because I want to take people's rights away from them. I don't want to do that. All right, let's pick up Kevin here. He's been waiting way too long. Hey, Kevin, thank you for your patience. Are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Yes. Hi.
Yep, I'm here.
Excellent.
Greetings from Michigan, where we have overflowing hospitals because people don't care about each other.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just reading about that today, man. I'm really sorry that's happening out there.
Our biggest, I think it's University of Michigan, is our biggest healthcare system, and they're having to stop taking transfers.
Ugh.
So
Wow.
that tells you something. And they usually take transfers from all over the state.
Right.
So.
Right.
But
Between the
I just wanted
unvaccinated COVID bumps and the surgeries and stuff that have been being put off that are backlogging, that I think that's where these overloads are coming from.
Yeah. And And I just wanted to touch on that really quick, but actually this is not the subject of my call.
Cool.
I wanted to kind of further explore what we were talking about last week. And I'd actually heard of Anthony Magnavasco before you brought him up after the phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to just kind of watch his videos for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
But ever since talking to you and the deal with my stepbrother, and actually really ever since watching a video today from one of my other favorite YouTubers on Marjorie Taylor Greene, we really need to start doing, more people need to start practicing street epistemology.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
I'm actually taking it upon myself to look into his how-to videos so I can learn some of the techniques myself. And if I can gather up the nerve, I may actually go out and talk to people myself.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Picking up arms,
Yep.
hitting the streets. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And also, I don't know if you guys know this, but he's actually, they had him in for Thrive out in Utah, and they got him on Mormon Stories podcast this week. The whole week is dedicated to him.
Oh,
So, I don't
good. I
know
did not
if
know
you
that
got
was
a chance.
happening.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yep. If you get a chance, I would definitely watch those episodes. I just started in on the first one, but the second one is about his history, so I'm definitely interested to learn that. So
Excellent. Well, I really can't recommend the technique enough, and as we've gone over many, many times, it's not a manipulative thing. It's a conversation when it's done right, and I would love to see so much more of that.
Absolutely. Well, I don't want to keep you guys any longer. I just wanted to provide an update on that situation.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Really appreciate it. And good luck with that. And please do call me, in a month or two. Let me know how it's going.
Absolutely, I will.
Excellent, man. All right. Well, happy holidays.
All right.
Yep.
See
Bye-bye. All right. Cool. And let's again just sort of bounce back and forth here a little bit as we're moving along here. Yes, I see some back and forth here on this vaccine thing. I get it. This might be an interesting time to bring this up. It's a controversial topic. Totally get it. And at the end of the day, I am going to say that, at the end of the day, your body is yours. And, if you don't want it, you don't have to get it, but you are going to have to deal with the consequences of that. You mentioned One Track Mind, retreating to the woods and living in a cabin or something rather than letting your kid get a jab. And okay, if that's what's necessary, in order to sequester yourself away from society because you become a bit more of a threat that way. And that's unfortunate. It sucks. I'm not saying I want it to be that way, but we've got to have a balance of safety and security for the group as well as the individual rights. And that interplay is just the most difficult conversations.
Yes.
So I'm not even going to pretend to solve it here. I'm just commenting on the fact that this is very, very difficult. And I wish it was easier. I really do.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Do have to. I am on the side of vaccination, though. I am going to say, when in doubt, get vaccinated. I got my booster, by the way, this last week. I did 2 shots at Moderna for my initial jabs, and I got the Pfizer COVID booster a couple days ago. No bad reactions. Nothing. Other than the pinprick, there was nothing, and I was braced for it Wednesday all day. I had off just in case, and nothing. It was all good. I don't see a negative downside to this. For the amount that I've looked into it and the authorities that I rely on for this, who are trained, competent people, including my own mom, by the way, because she was a registered pediatric nurse for her entire life. This is what I rely on for this information. So, all right. So let us pick up AC. All right. Yes. Hello. Hi, AC.
Hey, Chris. Hope you've been doing well. And hello, Melissa.
Hello.
I've asked you a number of hello. I've asked you a number of serious questions over the years.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you answering them. But I have a very hard-hitting topic to talk to you about. I noticed your Mario shirt. My 8-year-old son absolutely loves Mario. He's listening.
Yeah.
All right.
There we go.
So 2 quick questions for you. One, what is your favorite Mario character and why?
Okay.
And the second question is video games in general. What video games are you into? And finally, I'll leave with just a moment of reflection for the creator of the NES. I'm not going to try to butcher his name, but he passed away, the guy who created the Nintendo Entertainment System and saved video games. So he just passed away recently. So great contribution to all the lovers of video games everywhere. So anyways, Chris, I'll let you answer, and appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, here we go. My favorite character is Mario, only because he's the oldest in my life. I mean, I go back to Donkey Kong with Mario, so Mario's really old school for me and kind of, original video game icon. So that was favorite character and video game. Okay, now this has changed up a little bit because lately I got into some first-person shooters and I was having a ton of fun with some open world stuff. So I played Shadow of Mordor all the way through, loved it, got into Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm told I should love it, but I haven't loved it yet. And I kind of pulled back a little bit because I had to get refocused on my thesis. So I've kind of pulled back from video games, except Doom 2. I kind of like spending, a half hour or something killing, what are those things? Imps.
Yeah,
and the flying heads and the beholder heads and the demons and that stuff. I love that. That's my jam.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing, Chris. Am I still on?
You are.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing. Yes, and just remember in life, don't let things like your thesis and your job get in the way of your video games. You got to have your priorities straight.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
That's the best advice I've heard so far on the show. Thank you.
And just think about how irritated and how off purpose you are. You are definitely counter to command and tension when you're playing video games. I mean, you're not clearing the planet at that rate, my friend. Only virtually.
That's right. That's right. Thanks, AC.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Bye-bye. All right, good deal there. We have one more call in the queue, and this will be the last one we will be taking for the show this week. I believe this is Anthony. Hello, you are on.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the show.
All right, thanks, Chris, for having me on. I've been watching your show for a long time, and really, really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
You and Johnny. I really like you and John Atack and Mike Rinder, all those former Scientologists. I never was involved in Scientology, but I just find it fascinating, and I love hearing from ex-members.
Totally.
My question for you is, I'll just try to keep it simple. Why is Keith Raniere in jail and David Miscavige is not?
Oh.
Is it simply because of the religious protection? Is that it?
In a nutshell, yes. I believe that is true. I believe the religious status of Scientology has afforded it a great deal of protection that it wouldn't have otherwise had. However, the other thing that the feds had on Keith Raniere that they did not have on L. Ron Hubbard was very recent and very clear-cut physical evidence of wrongdoing. In other words, he branded women, right? He had that done. And those direct links to his inner circle called DOS, D-O-S, and the women involved in that who were coming forward made a very clear and pretty easy to put together case for the feds on this. And they didn't have to go RICO. They didn't have to go First Amendment. They didn't have to dive into all kinds of layers of corporate deceit. There was all that stuff, there was corporate deceit, but not at the level of Scientology. So that prosecution was significantly easier to pull off than a prosecution against David Miscavige's Scientology would be.
Right. That's the frustrating thing about it.
Yeah.
And it's something that I don't know. I just, because stuff I've looked in about Scientology, I'm seeing news reports from like the 80s and the 70s where the people where they're like investigating and they're like, this stuff is whack. These people are crazy. So the information's been out there even before the internet, but you know, people keep making shows. You keep speaking out, documentaries get made. The one thing I've looked at that seems to be that might make some change is the Danny Masterson trial. I don't know if you can comment on that. If that's going to, is that going to? Do you think that might be the thing that brings it down, or is that a bit too much wishful thinking?
Yeah, no, I won't. I will never say that one single court case is going to bring the Church of Scientology down. However, Danny Masterson's case has the most potential to expose Scientology's criminal inner workings that I've ever seen. And I really hope that the prosecution pursues that, but it relies totally on what the prosecution strategy is. And of course, I have no idea what their strategy is. So I don't know if they're going to go for the jugular on that or not. You know, it's ultimately a case against Danny Masterson, not against the Church of Scientology. So, you know.
Right. They're not on trial. That's the thing. They're not the ones on trial. However, I just feel like if they can prove if they do convict them and find them guilty, and the evidence they use is based on the fact that the church says these women couldn't go forward and report this, that's obviously going to be, if nothing else, a massive, PR blow for them. I mean, they've had tons of those, but they still have TV ads. They still have this YouTube channel that has this 24/7 feed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
By the way, I just have one more question for you before you left. Like I said earlier, I've never been, like I said, I was never involved in the church, but I had some very brief personal interactions with a couple people who were. The one instance was I was at a parade in my hometown. It was like a 4th of July parade, and a guy walked up to me, didn't say a word. Didn't say one word to me. He just handed me this little pamphlet and walked away. And it was The Way to Happiness. Mm-hmm. And I just started reading it. And I looked through it and I was like, huh, there's I was like, this is, I mean, what I remember is very basic stuff, but, it kind of made me feel good, just reading it. It made me feel, I can't really describe it, but it gave me a positive feeling. And then I, did a little bit of research and was like, oh, shoot. And that's what sort of got me started on this whole thing.
Yeah.
But is that a common thing, that pamphlet? Is that used a lot in recruitment?
Yes, it is. So much so that they have a program where any company in the world can create their own Way to Happiness booklet with their own cover on it, with their company logo or a personal logo. An individual can do this, and they can have as many printed as they want, give it out to employees, distribute it at sporting events, things like that. All of that has been done by Scientology.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very good, fish bait. It's a good sort of worm to put on the hook.
That's right. That's right.
And it's scary. I'm always I'm fascinated by human behavior, and I'm fascinated on sort of getting your hooks in, because it seems like once you just get in a little bit, to someone's mind, like, oh, this person, I can trust them, they're helping me. If you can just get in a little bit, then suddenly you can go in all the way almost. Like people open themselves up more. I'm having a hard time articulating this, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Totally. You're talking. Are you describing what's been called the boiling frog thing?
Well, yeah, but not just that. Here's the thing. If I hadn't if I had gone up to this person or found this person handed me a pamphlet and been because I actually thought about approaching them and asking them more questions, but I just couldn't find them in the midst of the parade. I just feel, I honestly don't know. I don't think I would have joined, but I definitely would have gotten or like he had me for a second. Like for a brief second, he kind of had me.
Yep.
With this stupid little pamphlet.
Yep.
And if I had continued the conversation, I would have gone a lot deeper.
Correct.
And that's always been interesting to me. Like what would have happened? Like what would have happened if the conversation had continued? That's just the sort of thing I was trying to get at there. It's like all it took was that one little thing, and suddenly the light switch was turned on. You know?
Exactly. Well, the good news here is that you did use critical thinking and Google, and you did check it out. And you saw immediately that it was a bad thing, and you appropriately stepped away from it. So I'm gonna suggest to you that you probably would not have gotten suckered in as easily as you might suspect, because you did have some critical thinking.
I said, I don't think I would have gone all the way. I don't think that was ever a real danger for me. But it definitely made me understand why people like. I mean, I know you in your case you joined when you were very young, but like why people still join it, or what causes people to join organizations like that? Because there's that it's a lot like with drugs. You take like marijuana for example. The first time you smoke weed, it's like this amazing transcendent experience, and then it gets boring after a while. You take it more and more, and then it just doesn't feel the same.
Yep.
And it's, I guess, cults in general, it's like getting high without drugs. You're not ingesting any substances, but in a way you're ingesting a substance of this sort of like manufactured, mind candy, I guess. It was like mind candy, I guess, is how I can describe what that pamphlet was like. Everything.
You're
it was
nailing
like,
it, man.
Eating a chocolate bar.
Yeah.
It was like a chocolate. I thank you for saying that. I really feel like I wasn't. I feel like in trying to, describe this, I was kind of just sort of rambling. But no, I'm glad that you understand what I'm trying to say. That it.
Yep.
And another aspect. One last thing. I had another interaction with a Scientologist too on a train, and I knew he was I found out later what he was. He never said he was a Scientologist, but he had a case and he had a badge with that cross on it. He had his name and he had a badge on. And I live in the Dallas area, and there's a church there in Dallas, so he probably came from there.
Yep.
And he was the train stopped. There was a mechanical issue, and we all had to get off of the train. And I was kind of pissed because I had to be somewhere, and then I was also really pissed because my phone was dead. So I was just standing there on the train platform, upset, and I was just sort of chatting with this guy, and I mentioned to him that I didn't have a phone anymore, and he let me use his phone. And I was like, wow, thank you. And I was struck by the fact that it was like a 98 flip phone. It was like the oldest, crappiest phone you can imagine. And that, I think, speaks to like, it was probably all he could afford, I'm guessing, because from what I've seen in the research I've done, he's probably not making any money at all. He's probably making just enough to live on. Or I don't know if it's different with staff versus Sea Org, but I was just really struck by that. Like, wow, this is like an original cell phone that this guy's handing me. But it was nice of him to let me use the phone. Mm-hmm. But I mean, is that common too? Do all Scientologists have crappy phones like that?
Oh no, not at all. No. Okay. No, that's actually kind of funny to me that he handed you an old flip phone, but no, that's not characteristic of Scientologists.
Okay. I was probably reading too much into it, but because it's such a fascinating subject to me, I was probably like hyper analyzing.
Yeah, no worries.
The interaction and reading more into it than was actually there. But no, man. Thank you. Thanks for taking my call, and you guys keep doing what you're doing. I'm a avid listener of yours.
Awesome. Well, we will. And happy holidays, and thanks for calling in.
Of course. Happy holidays to you guys. Have a good one.
Bye-bye. All right. Good deal. So those, good. That wraps up our calls.
Yeah.
And let's see here. One thing I'm going to say that I am very happy about is that we are having at least civil discourse in the comment section. And I want to tell all of you guys involved with that I appreciate it. If I'm getting anything across, maybe it's helping that somehow. I don't know. But I'm not going to, claim credit for everything. But thank you. It's okay that we disagree. It's really okay. In fact, it is actually necessary that we be in disagreement on a lot of different things. As long as we can kind of socially cohese and, follow some basic rules, I think we'll be okay, all in all. So, yes, that's right. Elizabeth Holmes going to jail, I hope. We'll see. I remember my old podcast on that. I did a podcast years ago about Elizabeth Holmes and that whole, Theranos thing. Yeah. I was grossly mispronouncing it. I think that was one of the podcasts I actually re-recorded. I think because I was so grossly mispronouncing that word, and now I've forgotten how to say it now. Anyway, okay, guys, thank you very much for the super chats, for the support here, and the happy birthday wishes and everything. Let us get our cards on, and we will wrap up here. These, of course, are our critical thinking cards, and these are logical fallacies, cognitive biases. Oh, by the way, while we're shuffling these, I'm going to ask you guys, another thing I want for Christmas is likes and shares. Please like and share this video and my content and channel out there with the world at large. People ask me all the time, what can I do? Well, that is a very, very easy thing you can do that will help enormously, because the more I can get my channel out there to people, the more they can learn what you guys have been learning, which is good stuff, I think. And that's what I would like your help with. So thank you very much for that. Let us check out our cards now.
Black or white?
Black or white. Okay, this is a logical fallacy called black or white. I wonder what it could be about. Where two alternative states are presented as the only possibilities when in fact more possibilities exist. So does it have to be black and white? Maybe there can be shades of gray.
Right.
Whilst rallying support for his plan to fundamentally undermine citizens' rights, the supreme leader told the people they were either on his side or on the side of the enemy. You're either with us or against us. Mm-hmm. No other way about it. So, critics, what do you think? Are you with us or are you against us? Because there's only two choices here. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming around. We will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I am going to enjoy watching Smollett get sentenced.
Idiot.
Actually, I'm sorry, but I am going to enjoy that. All right, guys. Bye-bye.